Hey everyone, welcome to Coding Wizards. My name is Akash Sharma and I have 7 years of experience in mobile application development. So in this video we will learn about API integration in Flutter app. So we will see uh, all the approaches that are currently being used by other people. Also we will talk about a standard approach to implement the APIs in the Flutter app. So we will keep the code clean so that it is readable and scalable. Okay, so we will first start with the simple approach that most of the beginners use. So in this structure we have widgets folder where we have stored all the widgets, common widgets. We have a utils folder where we have things like constant file where we have base URL, and error helper function, and a network manager, like it will tell us about like whether internet is available or not. Then we have a printer, like custom made printer to print the logs. So I have written this code, so it is just for development purpose so that we can see the logs in the logcat. So we have other stuff like widgets, so also we will see that whenever they will be used. Then we have our routes, so all the screens are defined here. We in the previous video we have talked about navigation and all, so if you haven't watched that video, so please do watch, then continue with this video. So in this we are not going to talk about navigation and all, so we are using named routes. So we have defined all the navigation here, there is screens here, and define these things like pass the routes inside the material app so that we can use this navigator dot to named push named. So next we have a modules folder. So this is just a folder structure that generally I follow. It is not a MVVM or MVC. It is custom like modular architecture. We will talk about these architectures like MVVM, clean architecture, MVC and all in the next or after that video. So in this video our focus will be on the APIs. So we have a common folder where we have a data model that will be used across the screen, so I have placed that inside this. Then we have a API folder where we have a UiState. I have explained this sealed class functionality in the Dart basics video. If you haven't watched that video, so please do watch, because I have covered all the basics, so I am just using those concepts in this example. So in this example the new thing will be the API integration. Rest of the things we have already discussed in the previous videos. So here we have a UI state to manage the like state, like whether it is success, error or loading. Then in this video I will use a get connect networking library. I also wanted to add the retrofit and IO, but due to the time constraint that explaining all the things will make the video very long, so I want to keep the thing simple. So in this video we will talk about the get connect. So structure will be the same, just this file will be like, if you want to get IO, then you can write that functionality inside this, retrofit for that. So things will be the same, just that we will see one standard approach with one library you can replicate with the other, and maybe in the next or some other video we will talk about the red.io and retrofit also. So here we have a home page, home screen, where we have a list of buttons. Then inside a controller we have like, I think it is not being used. Okay, so in this example first case is when we, like most of the beginner call APIs directly inside the visit. So let's see that example. So here if you see, so we have a stateful widget, and here we have three variables, one for the loading, another for storing the error results, and another for the, like if API returns some response, then we can store inside that. So in this, whenever widget is like this init state is called, we are calling the API. So this is the API we are normally using, the HTTP. So this is the beginner approach. So most of the like freshers use this approach, but I don't recommend this. Just for the sake of simplicity, I am explaining this so that we will continuously gradually move towards a standard approach. So it will be like more easier to understand for you guys. So in this, like we have created a function for the API and setting the state that is loading is true. Then we have hit the API, passed the URL, got the like response. We have checked the response and we are resetting all the other variables, and if it is success, then we are assigning the category list. Then if there is some error, then we are catching the error inside catch block, then assigning that error to the error variable. Then if it is not success, like it doesn't return 200, then we are simply disabling the loading, resetting the success like category list data, and assigning the error. So this is the beginner approach. So let's see how it works. Then in the widget build method, we have a scaffold, then a column. Then here I have added if loading is true, then show the custom loader, else if category data is not null, then show the category list. If that is not the case, then show the error. So this is the one file solution for API integration and as well as for the widget. So all the code in single file, widget, API data, everything. So whenever we click on this button, it is loading. Now we got the result. So this is simple approach. So it is easier to understand, but not recommended. So in this example, if we like, what major drawback is, we are using setState. So if we remove setState and use ValueNotifier or change notifier or any other state management solution, so if we want to do things natively, so we can use ValueNotifier in place of this. So in the next example, we will see how we can replace these things with the ValueNotifier. So here in this example, you see that all the code is still inside single file, just that instead of setState, we are using ValueNotifier. So we have wrapped everything inside like ValueNotifiers. We have made bool, string, and list of category. So these are the like ValueNotifiers, and rest is the same. We have hit the API. We have called the API function. And here simply instead of calling the setState, we are simply assigning a new value that loading is true. Then we have hit the API, checked for the response status code, and resetting the other variables, and if it is success, then we are mapping data to the category list. So in this example, like if I am using like HTTP with like there is a model category item. We have just created a model, not a list of models kind of class. So we are manually mapping, like we know that the response will be a list, so we are decoding the string to convert it to the map. Then it will return a dynamic, so will be list of dynamic. Then we are mapping that whatever is inside the list pass to this function from JSON, and it will map to the category item object. So we will get the list. So rest of the code is same, that we are just resetting and assigning the variables. Then in this scenario, when we use ValueNotifier, we must dispose it whenever a screen is closed. So we have called dispose on each function, each variable. Then in the build method, instead of simply like in the previous example, we have simply if else check. In this example, we will wrap this thing custom loader inside a ValueListenableBuilder, because whenever data inside this is loading, ValueNotifier will change. This will trigger the builder. So simply here we can check if loading is true, then return the custom loader, otherwise just return the size box. And simply we are doing for each of that. So is loading is true, then so the loader is if category is not null, then so the category list widget, and if error is not null, then return the text in error text. So this is the approach. When we don't use setState, we can normally use value notifier. So in this case, whenever any variable will change, it will trigger its own method, not not whole the build method. Like whenever we are setting the is loading false, then only this thing will be triggered, not this, not this. So this is the approach with the value notifiers. In the in this example also, if we open this screen, so same thing happens, just that here we have this inside the column, so we can make it center and thing. So loader will be in the center like this, so it will be in the center. So in this approach, we have issue we are calling everything inside a widget. So it is not a recommended. Let's say here we have only one API, so it is not much of a code inside a single file. If we have a lot of single API or double APIs and bunch of other sections like top banner, then category list, then product list, then recommended product kind of thing, so it will be a lengthy file, and it is also not a scalable solution. So we need something that can be scaled. So we will optimize it further so that it becomes a little bit efficient enough. So next case is that we will create a controller for this. So we will see the case 3 here. We have same thing is stateful widget, just that we have removed the in this second case, we have this function here, this thing for calling the API, we have it inside the widget. So we will move this function to into the controller, so that we can keep our code clean. So in this example, you will see there is no API calls, API methods. So we have a controller. Here we have moved all the variables for holding the data and the function, then we have a dispose method here. So we can call this method from the widget. So it is a normal class, there is no thing we are extending from anything. So it is just a normal class, we just named it controller. We will see how we can create our own controller functionality, so that we can get on init, on ready, on dispose method. So just for now, we have moved our code from widget to the controller, API related and data related code. So this approach is little bit better, but not efficient enough entirely. So here we have created object of that constructor and calling this method from the controller to fetch the data, and rest of the things are same. And here we are disposing, and here we have same thing. It is same as the case 2. So here we just that we are accessing each variable from the controller, not the widget. So we have controller.category list, controller.error. So this approach is little bit better than the earlier one. So at least I recommend that, at least if you have even a smaller scale, just a single screen app, you must at least follow this approach, so that you keep the API and API data in a controller and widget related code in a other file like this. So this is at least minimum requirement to be followed by all of you whenever you create a Flutter app. And in the next case, we will see a more efficient approach, so that in this case also, if we call this, it is behaving same. So just that we have moved all the variables and API code into the controller. In next case, we have, so here we have now made it stateless. So because whenever we are not using setState, or we don't want to use very heavy widget, because stateful widget is little bit heavier than the stateless. Stateless is very lightweight, and stateful, because it holds a state, so it is little bit heavier. So we want to keep our screen very lightweight, so we are optimizing it further so that we can make efficient scalable apps. So here we have removed the stateful and made it stateless. Now rest of the things are same. So here if you see, here we have value notifiers and API code, dispose method, everything. Just that and one more thing. Now we have, in the previous example, if you see case 3, this one, we are calling the API from init state. So in the next example, like in the stateless widget, we don't have init state, so where we call the API. So normal thing is, whenever we create an object, its constructor will be called. So here this constructor will be called, and whenever the constructor is called, we are calling the API. So this is a simple approach, we can do that. So this is the approach. So we have removed the stateful and made it stateless. We have normally created an object, and inside the constructor we are calling the API. So whenever this object is created, the API function will be triggered. So and rest of the things are same. So if we see the API call in the controller case 4, then same, everything is same, just that we have made it little bit more efficient by removing the stateful widget and made it stateless. But we got another problem. In this case, because we have defined the dispose function, but we haven't called it anywhere. So inside the, if we see this, we don't have on dispose method here, so we cannot on dispose of like this controller. In the previous case, we were calling dispose from the dispose of the stateful widget. So this is a minor, like one issue that is in the current approach. We will see how we can deal it in next video, or might be in this video. First we will see all the examples of API, so that we can reach a minimum standard level API integration. Then we will see how we can optimize dispose and how we can create our own controller. So let's see the next case, API controller 5. So in this case, now the things are going to be tricky, or it will be little bit difficult to understand. So if you haven't watched my Dart classes and inheritance video, so I will recommend that it is time to watch that video, because without that you won't be won't be get this thing right. So how this thing is working. So we have created a shield class. It is a generic, so that we can assign any type of data in the success state, and rest of the things, like I have created a function for managing the state. We have getters for checking if state is success, error or loading. Then we have a method for getting the data and error, so we don't have to cast it and get the data. So simply I will explain this class in maybe next or another video. So in this, just watch the previous video of Dart classes and inheritance. You will find branch class inheritance, this one. So you can practice this thing inside that video, and in this video we will see how we can use this class to manage our screen state or network state. So in this controller, this thing is same. Here if we want to create a normal variable, we create like this, and if we want to make this state, we want to make it state, so we can declare it like this, that it is a UiState, that in the case of success it will hold a integer data type. So we have named it number state, and here we can also give it error. We can pass error like a string. This data type will only be used if we are assigning success. So in success case, it will show the error that you are assigning the string but defined integer here. So in the success case, we have like this. And let's say we want to create a number list. This is a normal variable. I am explaining this just to give a glimpse of this UiState, how we can create variables from this. So here we have a number list. This is a normal number list, everyone knows. And when we want to make it state, so we have so here name does not matter. You can name it network state, data helper, whatever you want. So in this case, I have named it UiState, so that we can so that it makes more sense that we are updating UI whenever its data changes like that. So UiState, and in the case of success, it will accept a list of integers. So when we assign a success case, so it will accept a list of integers. So this is a this is normal variable, this is for the list. Now we will see if we want to make it like this variable with the help of like value notifiers. So normally we do like this. Value notifier, we write value notifier, define the data type that it will hold, then we define the variable name, then we give it a default value. So this is the case. Now if we go in, if we see this class, so I have created this class. It is not like provided in the Flutter package. So we are like this. If we go inside this is extending from change notifier, implementing value listener. Similarly, I have created my own class Rx. I have named it Rx. You can name it whatever you want, just for the simplicity that it can make more sense that we are creating a reactive variable. So for that, I have named it Rx, and I am extending from a value notifier. So whatever functionality is available inside the value notifier, it will also have all the functionality. So it will have all the functionality. Now we have defined a constructor. We have called the super, so that whatever value we assign inside this, it will be passed to the value notifier. Then we have created a normal our own function, that we have created a onChange method. It will return a widget, and it will require a like builder method, so that we can use it. We will see it in detail when we use it inside our UI. So here if we see inside the controller, we have Rx int. So if you write this and this, these are equal things. So if we make it like, instead of that, we can assign like this. So or this. So we can also name it value notifier and assign it Rx, because it is extending from the value notifier. So both the things are same, just that we have created a custom class. We have defined our own method. Instead of writing ValueListenableBuilder, this long name, we have simplified it, that simply onChange, and it can be called on the this variable. So we will see the example how we can use this. So here we have created a value listenable, a type of like int. This is a normal one, and same thing, if we want to create a list of integer and make it like reactive, that can be like observed, we can define Rx, then list of integer, then define give it a default value. So this thing, all these things like, and if we combined everything like this, all these things inside one, that we create a Rx with UiState with list that can accept an integer value. So this is the syntax, that how this is how we write it. So we have Rx parent, that whatever we will assign inside this, it will be observable. Then it can hold 4 status, 4 state: success, error, loading or none. Then success state will hold list of integer like this. So I think this thing is clear. I have explained in very detail. So now we will see how we can use this thing in our API integration. So in this case, we have category list state, and it is RX. It means that it is a value notifier, simply value notifier. Then it will hold UiState. Its main type is UiState. UiState success case will accept list of category item, and initially we have assigned it UiState.none. That it means it has no state at all initially. Then we have API functions similar to previous ones, just that here instead of is loading assigning, like instead of writing is loading dot value is equal to true, we are using a single variable to manage our all the states. So here we have assigned it initially the loading state, because we have UiState. That is the main reason of using this UiState, so that we can manage all the states of single API inside single variable, not creating a multiple variables. So initially we have assigned it loading state, then we have called the API, then we have checked for the status code, then we have passed the JSON response into the list. Then if it is everything works fine, then we have like UiState.success, and we have passed the list. So list is list of category item. So we have assigned the list. Now if there is some error, then we can simply use same variable and assign it the error, and if it does not return 200, then we can assign the whatever reason response is there. So like this. And in this case we have simply one dispose, because we are using only one variable. So previously if we see the code, we were like doing is loading true, then resetting these variables. So we had to reset all the 3 variables in each of the 3 cases, whether it is loading, whether it is success, or whether it is error. So in this case there is like, since we are using a single variable to manage all the states, so there is no need to like reset, there is no need for that. Now when we use this inside our widget, you see the code. Here we have simply created the object of controller. Inside the controller we have called the API, and controller.category list, we have accessed this variable inside here. Now we will see that we have created an onChange method, so it accepts a builder. So in the builder we are returning, now it is a very like very short code. So you may be not able to understand this, but if you see this code twice or thrice, you will be able to understand. Previously we were doing like this: is loading is true, then show this; if category is not null, then show this; and if that is not the case, then show the error. So this approach is not very cleaner to read, and let's uncomment this, so this will be a little bit easier to understand, I think. So let's comment this for now. So in this thing, so this thing is value notifier, we all know, because it extends from value notifier. So we can use this inside a value listenable builder. So we have assigned a value listenable builder to the body, and we simply pass that state value notifier to the value listenable. So whenever this its state changes, it will trigger a build method. Now when we have a state like value, so here it will return a value. So instead of this, we can simply write this. So this value will be like if you see UiState list of category items, so this is the state, so we can name it state. Okay, so here we say we also have a when method for pattern matching. Like it will be like if the state is success, then return they call this success method with the data inside this. If it is an error, then call this error method with the data. If it is loading, then call loading function. If it is none, then call none function. This is simple. So here we have state dot when and whenever its state is success, then show this category list widget. If its state is error, then show the error. If it is loading, show the custom loader. So we have a pattern matching when statement. We can use switch also here, because inside this we have used if else. You can use switch here directly, but this is the syntax that I follow. It is easier to understand and clean and neat. So this is the standard with the value listenable builder. Now if we see this thing, I think you understood all this approach. Here we have on change also. So inside that we have value listenable builder that we were directly using here. We are directly using here. Instead of writing this and passing this variable inside this, we have simply created on change method on this class, inside this class, so that we can call it like this. So we can call it on this is the value notifier variable. So on this we have called on change method. So it will return a widget which is value listenable builder. This is simply we are wrapping creating a method that can return a value listenable builder, and we don't have to pass this thing. So it will automatically get the data from this class, like whatever values it is holding, this will pass it into the value listenable. So here we have called on change. So whenever its value will change, it will trigger this method on change, this builder. And whenever this is value we can make it state, because it is holding a UI state. So you can name it whatever you want. So state on when, so like this is the code. This code is same like the previous example. So we are calling state dot when success, then so this thing error, so this thing loading in the custom loader. So if we see the success case, we have the category list widget. So this is a custom widget, just accepting a list of category item and creating a normal list. So this is the approach that I use, and we can comment it so that we can run this code. So now if you, where are the devices? Okay, now if you see this, here we have API call controller 5. Okay, this one. So this thing is working perfectly. Okay, so here we are like the functionality is same, just that we have created a better approach. So in this approach we are not using 3 variables to store 3 different states. We have used only single variable to store the current state of the UI API. So this approach is useful because many times I see that we forget to reset the loading value inside the success or error, and loader keeps showing. So or we have multiple APIs inside a single screen. So in one API there might be we show the loader, in other API if there is some error, then loader keeps loading. So loader is not like hiding. So I have lot of dogs in my area, so they are barking. Whenever I make video, they do this thing only during whenever I start recording the video. So sorry for that, bear with me. And we have seen this example of UiState. Now we will see, we have third, fourth and fifth case. Now we will see the two more approaches. One is that generally I don't write API this thing inside the controller, I create a dedicated repository for that. So we will see the case 6 where I have like here thing is same, we have created in the widget, we have created a controller, and this thing is the same as the previous example. We have used ValueListenableBuilder and then this. In controller, if you see, then we have ValueNotifier. So this is the example of ValueNotifier that we can also use like Rx, like this. We can import it and it will work. So either because we have created our own class, instead of writing this long statement, we can write like this. So here created a dedicated API for storing all the API calls. So here we are managing and one more thing, if you see the code here, you will see I am not returning anything inside this. We have passed a callback method. So I have explained this thing inside our async await async await and try catch Dart basics video. You can watch that video to get better understanding of this. So in this video we are focusing on the APIs. So here we have passed a function inside a function which has a UiState parameter which can accept success state of list of category item. So here whatever thing we were doing in the this case, controller case, let's split right. So if you see this repository, so here you see that we are assigning, in the previous example we were assigning loading to the this variable, but here we are calling this callback and returning the loading state, so that we can make it better. So I will talk about the use case where it is, why this callback method is used, callback way of implementing is used, because here we have returned the loading state, then we have called the API, then we have, if we got the data, then we are calling the success. If there is some error, then we are returning the error state otherwise, and if there is like code is not 200, then we are returning the API error, whatever is inside the reason phrase. So this approach is useful particularly whenever we want to implement caching mechanism, like we want to have a local database also. So we can check here, if there is an internet, then return loading, then hit the API and do rest of the things, and if there is no internet available, then load from the local database and return the thing. Also if want to load first from the local database, then from the API, so I use that approach in the home screen, on the home screen, so that we can load home screen faster. So I store the results here somewhere. So if once we got the data, we store it inside the local storage, then pass data inside the callback also, and here we check if there is some data inside the local storage, then return that data, then don't show loading because we have already returned the data, then go for the API. Once we got the data from the API, and if it is not the same as previous local storage, then return the API data also. So if we can update the data on the screen. So this is the approach, and if we like instead of this we return with this here we if we write return statement here, So we can only return one thing, either loading or success or error. We cannot return multiple callbacks. So that is why I use this approach, and it is more scalable. We can add localist database support also with this approach. In the like if we use return statement here, so we cannot return multiple states from single this thing. So that's the reason behind using this callback approach. So now we will see, whenever we are returning any callback from this, we are just storing this callback the state inside our state variable. So here we are not like doing any error checks or anything. So this is the approach for creating a controller. So these are the things that reside inside the controller, and API related code goes into inside the repository. Widget related code goes inside the widget screen. So here if you see on this side, things are same as the previous example. So simply observing on this, and whenever the its state changes, we are returning the like respective widgets. Like if it is success, then return this one, error this one, loading this one, like this. So I think these are the cases, all the cases that I wanted to discuss. Now we will see a standard approach combining everything that we have learned so far. So these are the test cases, all the cases. This is the folder where I have written all the standard code. So if we go inside the UI, we have, and in this case you see the loader. We have two sections here. So loader for this section is separate. So we are showing loader for this section separately, and this section for this section separately. So this is the thing. This is how we can, like if we use UiState approach, we can achieve something like this. We instead of just loader, we can use like shimmer effect, skeleton shimmer kind of animation. So this is the horizontal scrolling categories, and these are the products. I am using a test like open source API for loading all these things. So here let's see the controller first, or the repository, I think, or the models. Let's start with the repository, because it is after all video for the API integration. So here instead of using HTTP, I am using get connect, because HTTP does not support a centralized mechanism to pass like intercept request or response. So for that is why I am using this get connect. This is a printer, mixin printer, so we can use it here to print the request and response. So I have created a get connect API client extending from the get connect. If you haven't used the get connect, there is there's no need to like worry about. You can use it with the retrofit, dio, or any other networking library. So this is the thing to make it singleton. So we don't create the object of this class again and again. Just we have created a static variable and a static getter. If instance is not null, then return that instant, otherwise create a new instance and return that. So this thing ensures that its object will be created only once, and only one object will live throughout the app process. So this is the singleton approach. Here we have on init, we have overridden the base URL, so we have given our base URL to it. There is some normal configuration that our default content type is JSON, timeout duration. We have also added request modifiers and response modifiers. So here you see, if you want to pass a token inside the header, so you can write like this. If token is like, I use common controller to store the token and you login data. So if that is not null, then pass that token inside the authorization header. Then if it is a debug mode, then print request. So this function is coming from the printer mixin. Then we have a response modifier. We have also same thing, if status code is 401, that means unauthorized, so we are clearing the data and showing the login screen. So just that it is like centralized, we can write centralized way to handle token, login, everything. In HTTP there is like we have to write this code in every API. So that is why I recommend using like some other API other than the HTTP. So simply we are printing this ones also. Here we have two APIs, one for the category, one for the product. So you can see this code. And in the repository we have two methods, for one for the category list, another for the products. So here this is the standard thing that I follow and I will recommend you to follow. We are returning the loading, then checking for the network. If it is not available, then return the no internet, and if there is a network, then call the API, then parse the response. You can create JSON parsing data models directly with the list also, so don't have to map like this, but I use this approach because there is like single list of items, so we can use like this. Then return this success whenever we get the data, and if there is error, then return the error callback. Inside this, if you see, I have created a helper function to check if the different type of error. If it is a HTTP exception, then return this, socket timeout, return this. So you can see this. Similarly, in the products, this is another API. We have two parameters also here. So if you look closely, it is a named parameters. These are inside the curly braces, so these are all named parameters. So here we have same thing, all the code is same. You can pause and read this. Let's see the controller. So here whenever a constructor is called, we are calling both the APIs. We have two states for two APIs. So for category list API, we have category list state. For product API, we have product list state. Now you see the code is really beautiful and neat and clean. This is the thing when you go for the standards. So whenever this API returns any state, we are just simply storing inside the category list state, and same for the product API, just storing the thing, and we are disposing this just there is a minor issue with this like controller thing, because it is a normal class, not a getX controller. So we don't have a on dispose like callback from UI or this Flutter app. We will create our own getX controller like getX. We will see in the next video. So in this video we will focus on the APIs. So I think this code is clear. Now we will see the standard API screen. So this is the screen. If you see, the loading is really beautiful. Both the sections are loading independently, and there is no issue like if loader is keep showing. And we have also added the refresh indicator. So here if you see, this is a top refresh indicator, then a list view. On refresh, we are refreshing the products, not the categories. So because categories are mostly static, products can change, or some like if there is some sale or some changes in the price or some new product. So on the refresh, product list is getting refreshed. You can refresh both the list, there is no issue. And here we have categories text for the top, then a divider, this one. Then here if you see, we have category list state. On the change of this, we are passing a category grid widget, because in the previous example we was using the vertical list, here we are using the grid. So if it is success state, then return this grid. If it is at error, then return that this error. If it is loading, then return the loading, like this. And then we have a space here of 16, then we have products label here, then a divider here, then on change for the product list state also. So if it is a success, then return this widget, and if it is error, return text. If it is a loading, return custom loader. So instead of custom loader, you can load with the shimmer effect. Inside this, we are simply have a grid where we have like silver grid max cross axis extent of 222. So each card will be like maximum 222 width. So like that, this is the aspect ratio for this width and height. So this is the approach that is a standard one that I use, and I will recommend you to follow the same. So things can be little bit tricky with the in the beginning, but once you master this, and if anyone sees your code, he will gonna surely appreciate your code, because this is the code that generally like 4 or 5 years of experience like holder people are not able to write like this, because they have like like on the YouTube there are many like educators who teach Flutter, and all of them use all the approaches that I have discussed in the case 1 or case 2 or case 3, in all these cases like up to 5. Very few people make repositories, and very few people make use of UiState like sealed class. They all like create 3 variables for loading, error and success case, and they check dynamically that if it is loading, then so they if it's like the code I have shown in the first example like this. Most of the developers do like this, but once you learn to write code like this, you will be proud of on yourself. Like forget about the other people. Once you write code like this, it will be, your life will be lot more easier than like writing code like this. Because in this case, whenever you add, let's say we want one more API, so we'll do like this. We copy paste this, we make it product list, we call API, we make 3 more variables here, or if we are using single variable to for both the APIs, then this effect you want to be able to achieve the effect for like different loaders for both the APIs, you want to be able to achieve. And if you create 3 more variables, then you have 6 variables inside your widget, and it's stateful. So whenever your screen will be loaded, it will take a lot of time to load. So normally on the emulator, because on the system I have MacBook Pro, so these things are working very fast because of the processor of the MacBook. But once you test these apps on the low end devices, you will feel that difference, that our screen is taking lot more time than the required. So this is the thing. So I will recommend that go with this standard model. So here let me explain the folder structure also. So I generally follow this folder structure. We will talk about the MVVM and clean architecture in some other video. So this is the module name. Let's say it is a auth or authentication or home page. Then we have models for that, like login response, login request. Then we have API for that, like auth API or login API or sign up API. Then we have screens UI, login API screen, login API controller, like this. So this is the approach. I will make a separate video on the folder structure in in few days. API part was the most demanding and most requested video, so I think this is clear. And if you have any doubts, do comment, and if you haven't subscribed the channel, please do subscribe. And if you have any doubt, just drop the comments. I will try to make if there are a lot of comments on the same topic, I will make a separate video. Otherwise I will like answer the comments in the next coming video. Okay, I think practice, and this code will be available on the GitHub. You will find the links in the description. Just go on the GitHub, check out the API integration branch, you will get the same code. And let me push this code. I think it is already there, just that I have changed some things. So these are not the major changes. Okay, so these are not the major changes. The code that was there previously, that will work as fine. So you can check out this branch and get the code and practice it. I have just like implemented these two things. You can add a new screen, like on click of this product card, navigate to the details page, you create a details page, integrate API, use this standard API approach to create a details screen and that API. Okay, so stay tuned, thanks for watching, see you in the next video.